To the stage, Adrián Silvestre.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Adrián. What a wonderful film. Before I forget, I want to say that, but I don't want to get carried out and starting asking so many questions. So let's say that I love the way you are dealing with trans identities at the center of your films, with a kind of fluidity in terms of what they are looking for and what they want as a people, you know, as a persons. So I think this is very special in all your films. And I'm very curious about this one especially because I think it's the, I've been watching all the work from Adrián for a while. This is the actually first feature narrative, but he has already two other films, Sediments and Objects of Desire. Objects of Love, which you say in English. Okay, so let's talk about Rafi. So I do believe she is incredible. She's an incredible actress. The performance is so fascinating, alluring. How do you cast her? How was the process of the casting? And where did you find her?
Okay. Yeah, actually, this is the result of a long process of 5 years. I get in touch 5 years ago with a trans association in Barcelona, where I live, with the intention of providing them with cinematographic workshops and eventually making a film with a participatory approach. Mm-hmm. Basically, I wanted to make a film with them behind the camera, but also helping me with the script and the stories and doing the film that we had never seen before. Mm-hmm. In terms of realism and trying to prevent them from stereotypes and cliches. And Rafi was one of these girls, and she was super talented. I immediately recognized like this gift that she has to not only write her own story, but also to portray what she has been through, the feelings, the ideas, the sense of humor, the charisma, and I felt in love with her, and we have done all of this trouble together. Wow. She wrote the film with me, and I was directing, and she was portraying, but we have shared all the process.
Awesome. I'm going to say she did a fantastic job because you did a fantastic job as a director, so it's like that character is amazing. I do believe you create a strong character study with this, with Rafi, that is not, actually, for me, it's unseen on screen, you know, and I normally watch a lot of tons of films. I'm curious about that process that you described, the writing process, you know, how was it? I mean, how much was in the collaboration process? How do you describe it?
She loves writing. Actually, at this point, she's more focused on writing rather than acting. This is like the first experience that she had acting, but she's like very into writing her second book, because the first one was like some collecting of different stories that she had already lived, and she decided that she wanted to share this brief stories with me, and that's how we decided. I immediately noticed that there was a potential that could be translated in images. So this is how we construct the film. Like it is her words and my images, I would say.
I think that was fantastic. I mean, a great construction. I'm also curious about the, you know, I'm gonna ask, what do you believe is your favorite scene in the film? This is one question, and then I have another one, and then I open my question to the audience.
Well, that's a tough one. And
I know.
Yeah, of course I take pride in every single tough scene in which she demonstrates that she's so brave, and you can find like many intense and sad moments, but I would rather choose something that it can be like less dramatic, as for instance like the scene that in which she's like sharing with the other cis women like the things that every single woman has been through, regardless if they are trans or cis. And then she started the scene at the bar, And she's like very sad, and then she realized that, okay, that's common. That's a common place. It's not because I'm trans, and there's a click in her mindset. I love that scene. And yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Okay,
And
glad.
of course, the family, the Skype with her parents. That's
Yeah.
like very, for me, it was very touching. We end up crying like all the crew, and that was lovely.
It's very moving, yeah. How do you connect actually this work, My Emptiness and I, with your previous film, Sediments? I do believe there is a bridge between both films. How do you connect? How do you think they are connected?
Actually, I developed both at the same time. Like this whole process of 5 years, I made 2 films. One documentary, which is called Sediments. It's a road trip through the mountains with these women that you have seen in the association. They are like the leading roles of the other film. And Rafi, it was involved in that film, but you cannot see them. You cannot see her. So both are connected. I wouldn't say there's a prequel and a sequel. I think you can see both, or you can see just one, but they are connected. I like to say like our sisters.
Okay.
And yeah, and they both convey everything I have learned with this community, with different approaches, different languages. One is documentary, the other one is fictional, but they play one another, right?
Absolutely. So there is when the audience, there is a place that for if the people here want to watch the film, so Sediments, there is
because now it's streaming in a Spanish platform which is called Filmin.
Only in Spain.
Yeah, but here.
So maybe in the future, we'll be here in American. I mean, like
we're still looking for distributors.
I
so
wish. I wish. It's very good. Highly recommended. So I'm open my question for the audience. Okay.
That's an interesting question, because she has been living in Spain for 5 or 6 years now, and it's interesting because you always think that everything is working better elsewhere, but not into your country. Many people in Spain, they think like maybe France is a more developed country, but it's not in terms of social rights or trans rights at all. And for instance, as you have seen at the film, the one who used to have the authority to determine your gender was a psychologist, or it was like a medical authority, whereas in France, it was a judge. And in my opinion, that's like, it's pointless. In Spain, it's no longer working like this. This is starting in 2017. Now, of course, now we have fight a lot to achieve like the trans law. It's pretty new, and it's. But in France, you have to prove that you're a woman or a man. And how can you prove that? Like with friends or family telling that, okay, no, I know she's a woman. It doesn't make sense. And for instance, like the attention at the insurance, how do you say the healthcare system, el sistema de salud.
Sí, the healthcare system.
The healthcare system, they don't take care of anything. They are absolutely lost, and it's according to her, is far from what she has lived in Barcelona.
So for that reason, it's so important, bringing to film to the audiences. I do believe this is a necessary one. More questions for the audience? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Today is the day.
Over there. But you mean only in terms of gender? You mean if there's a significant difference in terms of gender? Yeah, okay, because I didn't hear like that. Okay, Firstly, I couldn't say how it's working in USA. I mean, this is my third time in the US. Of course, I
Yeah.
consume a lot of cinema and culture, but I will be like kind of cocky if I say, okay, this is how it works here. So I don't know. I can only speak about what I've been.
Experience living
Yes,
in Europe.
and for instance, in terms of color, we don't have this huge community in general of racialized. How do you say racializados?
Uh, People of color,
People of color, or even other
ethnicities.
ethnicities. For instance, the group that I've been working, it's mostly Latin and that's it. In considering that, there's not a big difference in this. I mean, I haven't met that many because we are still like a country which is not very mixed. And of course, we have achieved many rights lately, but we used to be like a very, very conservative country. I mean, we have been living through a dictatorship for 40 years, and all the rights that we have conquered are quite new from the 80s to now. This is like 40 years. And I have been a witness of this change because I'm 40, so I can see how everything has changed since I was a child. But yeah, I could say I'm proud of how things are coming, but not how it was as I remember.
Yeah, we need to
Does it make
continue the
sense?
fighting.
No.
Yeah.
That particular?
El final.
Okay. Okay, the thing is that I need to be, in this case, this plot, or this story, it doesn't come from my imagination. So for me, the first thing, my first aim, was to be faithful to Rafi's story. But on the other hand, it's a feature and it's narrative, and it has to be like developing towards an end. And I didn't want like a very happy end, like okay, now she finds love, and all her problems are disappear, because we struggle throughout our lives. Not only Rafi, all of us, we are struggling. We are looking for our identity every day, and we improve, and I didn't want to close like the story like in a radical way. For me, it was like very important to reach some kind of openness with a feeling of hope, because she's young, she's amazing, she has charisma, she has friends, a supportive family, and she has a bright future in my eyes. And I didn't want to give to the audience, to provide to the audience this kind of bittersweet feeling. You know what I mean? I don't know if I answered your question, but that was my intention. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
About that? To her mother. Dedication to her mother, that you seen the parents at the film when we were shooting, and right after the shooting she passed away, and she didn't have the chance to watch the film. And yeah, we've been through a lot. It was the pandemic also, so we couldn't even premiere the film, and we shoot the film right before the pandemic, and then we were locked down, and I was editing the film, like, and that happened, and this is the only thing that we can do for.
But the premiere was online in Rotterdam. I'm right?
It was physical, but we
physical.
couldn't attend, but it
Ah.
was in theaters.
Okay, understand. So, is there more questions for the audience? Okay, so I'm gonna make the last one. I know this is probably the hardest one. What do you want the audience to take away from My Emptiness and I?
To take away.
To take away from your film?
Wow. Well, there's not a specific way to be trans or cis, or this is Rafi's story, but she doesn't represent to a group, I mean, what I have learned is like every single member of this group, it is individually different, and I love them because of this. And unfortunately, most of the films that we have been watching lately, and in terms of representation, even with the best intentions, they are like producing stereotypes, they are like simplifying something that is far more complex and deep. And yeah, that would be like the only message that I can convey. We have to dig in, and we have to understand like we are so different, and every human being is so different, regardless your gender identity.
Yeah, I'm gonna say thank you for making that difference possible, broaden our understanding a little bit on this complex subject. And thank you for being here and showing the film with our audience in Cleveland. Tomorrow we will be hosting another screening and another Q&A, so please tell your family, your friends, the community, because this is a necessary and very important film. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.